Before we get into the episode, I am thrilled to announce that the EntreMD Business School is open for enrollment. The EntreMD Business School is the only school of its kind for physicians who want to build 6, 7, and multiple 7-figure businesses. Over the last 2 years, we have had hundreds of doctors go through the school with unbelievable results. Some of them run brands, some of them run private practices, some of them are coaches, some have other kinds of service-based businesses or product-based businesses. And we've had people come in and cross the 6-figure milestone, cross the 7-figure milestone, cross the multiple 7-figure milestone. You will be in a place where you'll get the coaching, the community, the accountability that you need to thrive as an entrepreneur, especially in the times that we're in. So maybe you've been following me for a while. Maybe you've been getting so much out of the EntreMD podcast and you've been wondering, how can I work with Dr. Una and the community more? Well, this is your chance. Come join us in the EntreMD Business School. It is application only. So go to entremd.com/business to turn in your application. I cannot tell you how many doctors have made statements like this. I recovered my investment in the first week. I recovered my investment in my bank account in the first 90 days. This is the best investment I've made in myself ever. I want you to have that kind of story, not just a story of building a great business that serves a lot and earns a lot, but having a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your terms. So don't wait any longer. entremd.com/business. And now for the episode. Well, hello. Welcome to the 5-Minute Tweak, where I share one success habit you can start practicing today that will change your life as a physician entrepreneur. Today, we are going to talk about how to change the way you see problems, okay? And problems like quote unquote. So now there are many things that happen when you start a business, right? And as you execute your business, you become a better version of yourself. That's a reward for it. You make revenue. That's a reward. You change the lives of people. That's a reward. But there's some other reward that comes from executing your business. For every problem you solve in your business, you create more problems, right? And that is why it is very important that we reframe the way we look at problems, because if we can see them differently, then we can actually enjoy the ride, okay? So for instance, let's think about it. If you have a business and you put yourself out there successfully, you have more clients or you have more patients, well, guess what you just created? A new problem. Where do I find staff? You bring staff on board and guess what you've done? You've created another problem. How do I onboard staff? How do I teach them the company culture? Let's say you have a staff member who's not performing and you've done everything you can do and you actually have to let them go. You have a new problem, which is I have to fire my staff, right? And on and on and on and on it goes. So I have an invitation. What if you choose to look at your problems the way a bodybuilder looks at weights, right? So a bodybuilder goes into the gym, their weights, they're heavy, right? And they have to lift them and all of that. It's a quote unquote problem. But the weightlifter, the bodybuilder, is happy to lift them. Why? Because he knows as I lift this, I'm growing my muscles. I'm becoming better. I'm acquiring a new degree of power, of strength, right? And so they, of their own free will, go and lift these weights. So what if every problem in your business is a weight? And as you lift it, you acquire new skills. You acquire a new level of mastery. You acquire the ability to execute at a higher level. You acquire the ability to do work in a short amount of time to get a huge result because you have that much more expertise. What if we looked at problems that way, right? Okay, so let's say, you're like, man, I have to grow my business and all that stuff, and I think I need to be a guest on a podcast. And oh my goodness, how do I pitch? How do I find them? When I go there, how do I show up? How am I engaging? How do I do all these things? But what if that was a weight? And at the end of lifting that weight for a period of time, you become an expert at being a guest podcast. And then there are tons and tons of people who find you and they're like, I found you because I listened to you on so-and-so's podcast, right? Now, what if that now puts in you a desire to start your own podcast? Well, you just have another quote unquote problem. And now you have to learn like, okay, how do I set it up? Where do I find an editing team? Where do I do all these things? But you lift that weight long enough, you have a podcast and maybe you have a really profitable podcast. Well, because you have that, your business is exploding and now you have to hire people. It's another quote unquote problem. But you start lifting that weight and you become really good at building a rock star team. And then maybe you're like, okay, so where I am now, if I'm going to grow anymore, I have to start collaborating with others. And you learn how to do that. And you're a master at bringing great relationships that are win-win relationships for you and for the people you're in relationship with. Do you see? We can choose to look at them like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I have to do this. Or you can look at, wow, another weight to lift. And at the end of this, I'm going to be so much better. Okay. So what I want you to do, because remember the 5-minute tweak, you're going to make changes today. Your business is going to change today. You're going to change today. I want you to identify one problem in your business. And I want you to ask, what muscle is this quote unquote problem designed to help me build, right? What new skill, what new expertise will I get if I choose to engage with this problem? And I want you to engage with said problem. Okay. And send me a PM or a DM. Let me know how it goes. Okay. So there you have it. That's our 5-minute tweak for today. Now, remember, you are part of the EntreMD movement, the movement that disrupts the healthcare space. So do not keep this episode to yourself. Share it. And I will see you on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast.